In this video, I'll be reviewing Bloodroots by Papercult. Before we get into the review, however, I would like to briefly lay down my philosophy on game reviews. First of all, I feel like most reviewers score games way too positively. Even though I love video games, in my opinion, most of the critically well-received games are merely okay. Many games, for instance, that get an 8 or a 9 from major outlets wouldn't score higher than a 6 or a 7 from me personally. I'm also not going to pretend like there's some kind of math to reviewing games or that game reviews can or should be objective. My main criteria will simply be how much I enjoyed playing the games and to what extent I would recommend other people to pick them up. It is probably also important to know that I care most about gameplay, story and art style in that order, and that graphics and technical quality are of lesser concern to me. I will be reviewing games on a 10-point scale. However, I will most likely never give out a 10, since I believe only a perfect game deserves a 10, and I haven't played one yet. A 9 means the game is amazing and I recommend it wholeheartedly to everyone. An 8 means it's a great game that most people will enjoy. A 7 means the game was at the very least interesting or enjoyable, but didn't really blow me away. A 6 means it was okay, but not necessarily worth your time and money. And a 5 or lower means there was something fundamentally wrong with the game. With that out of the way, let's start with the review. If those 25 seconds of gameplay you just saw look fun to you, you should probably give Bloodroots a try, because this is what you're going to be doing for most of the 5 to 10 hours, depending on your skill, that you will be spending with the game. The gameplay loop is actually quite simple. Every level is split up into a few areas with checkpoints in between. You enter an area and the objective is to kill every single enemy before you can move on to the next. You start without a weapon, but you can pretty much pick up any item in the environment and use it, from swords to cartwheels to dead skunks. You only use 4 buttons to play this game. I play this game on the Nintendo Switch, so the button inputs will correspond with that control scheme, but you move around with the left joystick, you pick up an item using the A button, you jump using the B button, and you attack using the Y button. Almost every enemy dies with just one hit, but the same is true for you. This pattern is occasionally interrupted by platforming segments and boss battles, but these are unfortunately infrequent. After every level, you return to your camp and usually witness a short dialogue filling you in on the game's story. The story is honestly not that important though, since the gameplay is the main hook of the game. In your camp, you can also replay previous levels to improve your score and get higher on the leaderboards, or change the hat that your character is wearing, which is merely cosmetic during your first playthrough, but when replaying levels, these will also have impact on the gameplay. I think the game has a pretty unique art style and looks quite good. It runs well on the Switch, but the game did crash on me 3 or 4 times over the 10 hours that I spent with it, particularly during boss battles. Furthermore, I did find that the hit detection was a little off on a few occasions. Also, I found certain sections frustratingly difficult, and this is coming from someone who beat multiple Soulsborne games and plays many games on the highest possible difficulty. However, after I beat the game, I found out that there were accessibility options to make yourself invulnerable or to completely skip a level if it got too hard. I probably wouldn't have used them myself anyway, even if I had known, but it is good that they are there for people who are less skilled or less patient. The reason why I decided to pick up this game was that it reminded me of a few games from last year that I really enjoyed, particularly Ape Out and My Friend Pedro. In my opinion, however, this game was unfortunately not as fun as those two. Overall, Bloodroots is fun to play, though a bit repetitive. It could have used a few more boss fights or platforming sections for the sake of variety. If these kind of games interest you, I would personally recommend picking up Ape Out or My Friend Pedro first, but if you have already played those and enjoy them, this is a decent pickup for $20 in the US and €16 in Europe.